So poops, the Rain Rave is now old news, done and dusted, even as people complain that this is apparently not our culture. Repent. Oh, okay. Which is why I just want to ask to all of you geniuses out there, what exactly is Malaysian culture, ah? No, but seriously though, it's kind of a valid question, right? Like, what exactly is Malaysian culture? You know, I gave a definition just the other day of what culture is, but we can put it here again. It refers to the shared beliefs, values, customs, behaviors, and artifacts that characterize a group or society encompassing language, arts, and social habits. So clearly, this kind of raises a question. When we say shared beliefs, who exactly gets to determine what that culture is? Lebais, demagogues, penunggang agamas, penunggang rain raves.
Or is it actually none of them?
One of the great things of the last couple of days is that it triggered so many people. Bro, it was absolute cinema. It's fascinating how people have been trying to challenge the Rain Rave thing.
One prominent example is Wong,
who is now one of the great defenders of our Jati Diri, who by the way used to go to clubs himself. And to be fair, he is catering to a sort of demand here from people who say that they know the norma masyarakat, garis merah, ChatGPT responses, lupa duduk dekat mana agaknya, sini ikut timur bukan barat. It's kind of fascinating actually. But yeah, as far as I know, I am one person. Firdaus is one person. All of those people saying that this is not our culture are actually just people on their own.
But actually, it's much more complicated than that.
I mean, you can even look at the way that Firdaus responded to me. I mean, like, he said, hey, look at Rukun Negara as our guiding principle. So, you know, I actually went and put in the Rukun Negara. Kepercayaan kepada Tuhan, kesetiaan kepada raja dan negara, keluhuran perlembagaan, kedaulatan undang-undang, kesopanan dan kesusilaan. Apparently that is our culture. But as you can see, just because you read the Rukun Negara, that doesn't actually solve anything. I mean, we don't worship the same God. What royalty says doesn't mean that you can tunggang on it. Keluhuran perlembagaan, might want to tell that to Hadi. Kesopanan dan kesusilaan. If people are going around gaslighting you about what Malaysian culture is or is not, is it sopan to just diam je and allow yourself to get bullied? I don't think so. I think that's just being weak.
Because culture is about more than just our Rukun Negara.
There are different types of cultures in Malaysia. You can say that the Indian community has a certain culture, the Malay community has a certain culture. Same for Chinese, Kadazan Dusun, Orang Asli Murut. Chinese people celebrate CNY. Indians, depends on the religion. Some people celebrate Thaipusum, but others also celebrate Easter. So you think about it, it's not really so simple. It's kind of like, you have different cultures that are in Malaysia. None of them is exactly what you would call Malaysian culture, but they're like part of it. But somehow everyone just has an opinion about what the culture is, even though they can't actually prove that what they believe is exactly what Malaysian culture is. Now, I find that very weird for two reasons. The first is that technically nobody can
unilaterally
define what a culture is. We know that Namewee and Fish Leong are Malaysian Chinese singers, but singing Pasang Ho, is that our culture? Do they represent the Malaysian Chinese community?
Yeah, probably not.
In the same way, just because some people in the Malay community take part in large-scale corruption, steal zakat money, allegedly abuse children, and watch porn in mosques, that doesn't necessarily mean that every single one of the people in the Malay community takes those things as the culture of the country.
But second reason, things can become part of culture if enough people enjoy them.
If people go around, imitate the Pasang Ho boys, playing them on Spotify on repeat, is that not Malaysian culture? I mean, it doesn't have to be tied to like some cultural festival, right? If all the culture in Malaysia were literally just public holidays and celebrations, dude, that's so sad. Basically, that means that our cultural environment is dead. And we don't even need to talk about just Malaysian Chinese culture, if you will. You could even talk about Malay culture. Do you know that there are clubs where mat rempits listen to a very specific type of music called dugem, which basically means dunia gemerlap. It's basically EDM featuring Siti Nurhaliza and all sorts of Malay artists combined together. And I say Malay loosely because it actually incorporates Indonesian culture as well. I remember that Reef actually played a mashup of Kenangan Terindah at the Rain Rave. And you have to ask if it's really accurate to say that, yo, none of this is Malaysian culture when you have so many Malays who are going into clubs, who are playing this music, who are making this music? Are you saying their opinions, their thoughts, the way they choose to live their life doesn't actually matter? It seems to me that when it suits people, then they will just say, this is not our culture.
And if you listen to these people, you will actually end up destroying your culture.
Let me give you an example. Wayang, Kulit, Dikir, Barat, Mak Yong, and all of those things were unquestionably Malaysian culture. There were actually practitioners, people who actually learned how to do these things until at some point then people started banning them. Does that mean that the culture was not Malaysian culture? I mean, it seems like it is. It's just that a couple of people decided, hey, why don't we go ahead and destroy that because it goes against our norma masyarakat. Personally, I think that's BS. I think it's just a result of like religious gaslighting. What I find very funny is that when you have Rain Rave and people playing music from Malaysian culture and share in that culture across different races and religions, then somehow then it becomes a problem because all of these penunggangs, pentaksups, they want to gaslight you, manipulate you, define what culture is because they don't respect your personal preferences. They have a narrow view of what culture is or is not. And they want to get your votes, control you, and make sure you don't step out of line because they need you to ikut. Hey bro, you think culture is your grandfather one, is it? Y'all gaslight one another all day long, try to control your people, expect people to so-called sopan santun while you talam muka, songkran in your own state. Hypocrisy every single time you open your mouth and then you want to talk to me about so-called culture? Bruh. If you actually listen to these kinds of people, it doesn't matter whether you're Malay, Chinese or Indian, you are going to destroy your own culture, you are going to empty out your entire soul, your society, and you will be directionless and lost. So don't say that I didn't warn you. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think anybody can really tell you exactly what Malaysian culture is. Like even you right now, the person who's like listening to this, you have your own opinions about what's right. You have things that you like. Maybe you watch Jujutsu Kaisen, you play Genshin, gacha all day, all night, drop 20,000 ringgit on Pokemon Gaole. You go Tafiz school, memorize all day long. Or you're kiasu at the highest level and you want to get into the best university on the planet. Do we say that those are all not part of Malaysian culture? I don't think that makes sense. So if you like EDM, you like spinning dugem, you think it's fun to not be under control by a bunch of people with no achievements except yapping about race and religion all day long, then why do you need to listen to the moral police? Why can you not just go up to them and do what the late Bung Mokhtar Radin did in saying, as you go on your merry way? Simple je kan? Do it. So poops, as far as I'm concerned, if you have a Malaysian passport, you have a Malaysian IC, then you have an equal and valid share in defining what Malaysian culture can be, what it should be, and nobody can gaslight you into thinking that there is one specific Malaysian culture. As far as I've always known or been concerned, this weird way that people always think that so-called Eastern culture has to be a certain way. We have to be so-called decolonized. All of us have to live a certain way, speak a certain language, have certain norms. It has never actually made any sense to me. But you know, all of that was a lot of yapping about a single unresolved question. And that question is, what exactly is Malaysian culture? Do we actually have a specific culture that you can speak of? If it is, if you can, then what exactly is that culture? Go right ahead, share your thoughts down in the comments. I'm sure it'll be an interesting discussion to have, but please don't try to gaslight the people around us because this audience is probably a little bit smarter than what you might be used to if all you can do all day, all night is gaslight. But anyway, what do you think, Sapoops? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. That's all to say about that, and bye.